He does indeed, and I feel like the Shen, not only does he have a target of the Hecarim, but he has a double threat in mid and bot, right? The Hecarim will scale up and get a lot of damage with the conquer stacks and with those items getting under his belt, but the Akali on side lane will have so much kill pressure into the Azir, given the fact that he has a Shen ult on top of him. It means that Caps and Jankos playing this 2v2 on a side lane becomes a lot more difficult because of the Shen ult, and all-in's bot as well. You know, if Kaori wants to dash forwards with a Shen ult on top of him, with Flakked having no flash, he's as good as dead, so G2 needs to be very wary of Shen ultimate cooldown. Now, it is a long cooldown, a couple minutes that they will need to keep track of it, but if it's executed upon properly to cover a dive or execute a dive, it can get you really far ahead. Can be hit or miss though, so EG need to pick their windows very well.
Yep, I do like this as an answer from EG, largely because of the solo lanes, right? You've got teamfight and teamfight in Azir and Ornn. You pick Shen and you say, we just don't want to do that team fighting stuff. We're going to try and stay in side lanes as much as we possibly can. We'll see whether it's going to be enough here because, of course, Ornn and Azir have been very successful this tournament, and G2 wanting to get off to a great start here in the first game of the day. It's EU versus NA. It's the El Clasico. Yesterday didn't go so well for the Europeans, and we'll see whether EG can offer back another punch like that this time around.
And this is the last EU NA of the group stage, I believe. 100 Thieves doesn't have an EU team in their group, neither does Rogue. So this is the final EU versus NA here at the World's group stage. Right onto the Rift. See what happens on the level 1, because bot brush control can be very important in these double-ranged matchups. Caps now hovering around this red buff in case of any cheese. Maybe they're just expecting someone to, you know, try to look for a Flakked on this level 1.
Yep, well, before we get into all of the action, make sure to link your League account with Prime Gaming to receive your free digital goods. All right, guys, you got to make sure you link that one up and just get stuff for free.
Free stuff?
Free stuff's great.
Everything tastes better when it's free.
Oh, absolutely. And also, did you know free fries don't have calories?
They don't?
Yeah, so if you take them from somebody else, calorie free. That's how that one works.
Out. I like that. I like that a lot.
My sister told me that when she took all of my fries. It was actually much better for my caloric intake as well, which was great.
It's a net zero for both of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Win-win.
Yeah.
So
conservation of energy doesn't exist. But anyway, let's get back into the game.
So as I was talking about just a couple seconds ago, the bot brush level 1 ward is really important when it comes to these double range matchups. So I'll just bring up the minimap here 1 second. That ward there will help out Flakked a lot when it comes to this lane control. And actually, I'll bring up the minimap once more because Flakked was hovering around this red buff. So G2 have fake leashed bot. They've left their Draven on this red buff. Will come back with a little bit less mana. So that spells to EG's bot lane. When they see the Draven with an axe in his hand with a little bit less mana, they'll say, well, he must have been hitting the red. So LeeSin is started on the bot side of the map, so G2 doing a little bit of a fake leash there.
Yeah.
They will get control of that middle brush, which is really important when it comes to these range matchups, because the Thresh can always threaten. If you watch Targamas here, you can walk up and then get in the face of EG, which means the Lucian has to step back, so G2 innately gets wave control despite leashing. That's why the level 1 ward in that middle brush can be so crucial. So a little bit of bot push coming in here for the G2 bot lane. We've seen the Akali Azir matchup multiple times this tournament, where the Akali just gets a little bit bullied until the first TP back. And this top matchup will be in isolation, as we expect, with both junglers pathing towards this bot side of the map.
It's been a while since we've seen good old Shen top. Of course, Impact, no stranger to it, having played League of Legends for about the length of time that League of Legends has been around. But certainly just going to be tank v tank, so it's not super exciting necessarily.
It's kind of crazy to think that next year Impact won Worlds 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And he's still going.
Yeah. And he's still extraordinarily good. Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Time flies, really, doesn't it? And Impact still at the top of his game, still competing at World Championships. We'll see what he can get done this game on the Shen. We'll get pushed in a little bit early. We saw the trades going in favor of BrokenBlade. The beauty of the Shen matchup, I think, is when the Ornn lands the brittle from the W, he can't auto-attack you if you pull your dodge towards you. So there'll be a little bit of a mind game there. Ward swept out there by G2, who are being a little bit aggressive onto Inspired's Gromp, but he smartly went blue to Gromp and skipped Wolf, so he could actually get that camp before the G2 bot lane to crash the wave and invade. He has the smite here. Jankos might contest him.
Well, Inspired is going to secure it, so no harm, no foul. I think Jankos did give his position away. Now Inspired just makes his way towards that top grab, and it's just going to be a bit of a trade.
Yeah, this is really good for EG. Jankos actually didn't do his Raptors or Krugs. He had walked in expecting to be able to take away a Gromp to make it so it's a net even on camps. So now he's on the back foot a little bit. Inspired should be able to pick up this top side crab as Jankos does have to clear out those bot camps. So full clear from Hecarim. We'll see if Inspired decides to take a base or maybe help a push out on one of these solo lanes. But the Hecarim just wants an early game that's even and stable. He wants to get to level 6, farm up twice, full clear twice, and then look for 3v3s and 2v2s.
Yeah, it's a really interesting question when it comes to scaling between these two teams, right? Because both of them in the late game want to be doing very different things, given the fact that we've got a lot of side lane power and control here on EG's side, and then you've got team fighting ridiculousness from Ornn and Azir especially. And if Flakked manages to cash in some of these stacks, he'll also be an extraordinary teamfight force.
And we've got Inspired coming down to this bot side here. EG's bot lane's pushing out a wave, and they're scared that Jankos is hiding on one of the lane brushes, or maybe he's hiding on this tribush, waiting for them to step up to crash the wave when the next one comes in. Very, very good gank setup here for G2. So Inspired's here to cover. There is a ward in that brush that might spawn him out. He's hugging the wall right now and just communicating with Kaori and Vulcan, saying, push the wave in, and once it crashes, you take the base. Targamas is faking it here. He's pulling a lantern saying Jankos is around, you can't crash this, but EG know that their jungler's behind them. They're not scared of anything. They don't fall for the bait, and now they could look for something on a dive.
Yeah, could be a potential here as Flakked down relatively low. Let's see where the Vulcan can land the bubble. There it is. Connects onto the Draven. Inspired canters forward. Will he pick up the rampage kill? No, he won't, because Kaori locks down first blood for North America. Targamas is now a sitting Thresh underneath this turret. Can this one work, though, is the question. Good flash out of the piercing light. It's actually the execute onto Vulcan, and EG take 2 for nothing.
Applaud that play, NA fans, because Vulcan executes. It's a clean 2-0 for EG. Inspired was initially there to cover, but when Targamas faked that Jankos was there, EG realized that this is all just a game for them. There's no jungler here behind them. Let's go for a 3v2 dive and see what happens. Beautiful bubble by Vulcan. If that doesn't connect, it gets a little bit difficult to dive, but the chain CC is perfect. The juggling by Vulcan was perfect, and now all of a sudden in this Draven Lucian volatile lane, Kaori has 2 kills under his belt and such a big item advantage.
Yep, Jojo also playing very respectfully, knows that there's a few people around his mid lane. Targamas also hanging around. Vulcan's going to spot him here, as the hook is going to barely go wide. Good play is going to connect, but Inspired will just dance forward. Oh, Jojo's going to follow, comes under the turret. Perfect execution, does not land, but the turret's not going to hit again, and Inspired locks down the kill onto the Thresh. EG get away with another one.
They're off to a very strong lead here, EG, punishing the jungle support of G2 when they're trying to walk into river to get this crab. Kaori's there out of base to help out and cover Inspired so he can continue on the push forwards, and it only really gets better from EG from this point, because Impact just hit level 6, so any play that G2 wants to make now, there will be a Shen appearing in those 3v3s or 2v2s. Targamas no summoners, Caps no summoners, Jojo almost gets the solo kill. All of these summoners being down allows EG to look for so many plays when Inspired gets this level 6.
This is definitely a great start, but they're going to have to keep it up. I'm not ready to believe just yet, Cadril, just because G2's teamfight composition is so extremely powerful. It's one of these sort of ease of execution, front-to-back style comps that can just find teamfight wins. And we haven't necessarily seen that yet. It's just been skirmish, skirmish, skirmish. And if EG can keep that up, then it's definitely going to look great. But G2 need to try and find some of these angles, because it's getting to the point where it's about 2,000 gold the lead. And at 7.5 minutes, that is big.
It really is, especially with Herald spawning in 30 seconds time. Jankos is coming towards bot lane here, trying to shadow Flakked and Targamas, but the Thresh loses a lot of kill pressure and setup, because normally you think of Threshes and they want the lantern flash and then play the enemy support, and even if they flash, the gap close is already there, but they don't really have that setup. So EG's bot lane's pushing in, Jankos is hovering around, but they have a Shen ult, so Inspired can stay topside, even start this Herald up if he wants to when he knows Jankos is down there, because the Shen ult will cover this bot lane of EG to make it so they can turn it into a 3v3. We'll see what Inspired can get done, because he's hiding in a bush right now. Caps.
It's a lot of control vision here for G2. Caps going to feel pretty comfortable. Inspired walks on over. We'll be able to clear this one out. Vulcan swims his way towards Jojo, but looks like we're not going to have any biff or anything like that right now.
Now, Inspired level 6 is going to start up this Herald. Kaori and Vulcan are first from the move to bot to cover him off here, because the best way to play against the Shen is play into the Shen, right? Don't give him options to turn fights from numbers advantage with the ultimate. G2 ideally would want a 3v3 topside here, because the Lucian is so strong, so EG are saying we'll make it a 5v5. Our strong point is now on the top side of the map. You cannot contest. Flakked's late on the base. Jojo wants to contest his blue.
Yeah, he's going to dance over as, okay, there's the lantern right for the LeeSin, but the ultimate from Inspired is too good, and Targamas is dead again.
EG are matching everything G2 want to do. Look at this swap coming in here. Impact TP's bot, covers the tower, has ult in case G2 want to make a play on this top side. Kaori's going to push in, and EG have the Herald. What the hell was G2 even doing there? Jankos just ward jumped in and kicked Kaori, I think, in a 1v3, and then just lanterned away. So maybe he was trying to peel for Targamas, who had no flash, but EG have the gap close. EG get the crab, and EG get everything.
Yeah, and the follow from the Hecarim is just too good, right? Like, you can't feel safe after taking a lantern when there's onslaught of shadows, but here is BrokenBlade with the ulti. Kaori's gonna have to flash. The wave is gonna go wide, but zones well, and EG make it out alive.
And it's a flash for flash trade. The only reason BrokenBlade hit that ultimate was because he flashed forwards to catch Kaori off guard. Then BrokenBlade has the TP bot to match Impact. Now there's no globals on these top laners, so Impact will always have a free ultimate towards this top side. BrokenBlade can never really respond. G2 have no options in this early game. Their best bet is finding 5v5s around neutrals on 2-item spikes of their carries, but right now this early game is being dominated by EG.
Yeah, and I feel like we don't talk about tempo quite as much as we used to, but with a 1-3-1 composition, tempo is so extraordinarily important, and it is something that Impact can definitely utilize extremely well. He didn't even need to ult in that fight that EG won at the Rift Herald. And so now they hold on to that tempo advantage, and it's like they're an extra step in front of G2, and it's going to be very hard for G2 to find their way back.
Yeah, it's kind of like having a turn, really, isn't it? In a turn-based game, once you get the push in bot, the enemy team's turn is just to cover and catch the wave. So then you have free time, and EG, perfect example of that tempo, was just pushing in bot, having a lead and running towards this Herald before Flakked can respond, and using their numbers advantage to force a play. They're going to get another plate. 2 plates left on that tower. Inspired has a Herald. 1+1 is 2, and they can look for a bot tier 1 crack open here and get this Lucian ahead with the Gale Force already. Could also use it mid to try to chip down this tower so that when the second Herald spawns, you can use the second crash on the mid tower to fully kill the tower, because of course Azir has so much wave clear, it can be really frustrating to deal with in terms of getting that tower. But Inspired's going to start up this dragon. This will be absolutely free. There's no TP on BrokenBlade. It's a 5v4 if G2 want to engage this, and they have no vision either. So Caps is looking for a roam top. Here's the cross map from G2. Impact has the flash, but he's a little bit deep here. Has the taunt too. We'll see if Caps can shuffle him into BrokenBlade, who doesn't have the ult up just yet.
Yep, he should be able to dash his way out of this one, but Caps is going to come on over, and Impact gets the bad news. Emperor's Divide is going to be available. Phenomenal flash from Impact, and he just walks it out.
Great reaction there from Impact. Also doing a couple backflips as well. Emote's game is strong on the EG solo lanes, and that was just a perfectly timed flash the second the Emperor's Divide came out, straight towards this tower as well. It's not like he flashed into bot side river there and he would get chased down. He had a tower right behind him. And all the meanwhile, EG's bot lane's been keeping Targamas and Flakked under this tower. They still have the Herald, only about a quarter left on that timer. BrokenBlade.
Oh, yeah, he's in a bit of trouble here, but Impact not exactly with the most kill threat right now after those empowered autos are used.
Oh,
up on a tidal wave here towards the bottom side. Kaori just going to knock down Flakked. Targamas, he's been in this position before, Kadril, and I don't think it's a good one. Hook's going to go wide yet again. The flash comes out from the Thresh, and the teleport will mean that Targamas survives.
Caps TPing in, but he cannot turn the play. He can't try to dive onto EG's bot lane there. Why? Because they have a Shen ultimate. Here comes the Herald in mid. All the meanwhile, the bot lane is dominating 2v2. Jankos will chunk out Jojo, but that won't net to anything. BrokenBlade might be in trouble.
Impact. Okay, not going to be able to find it there. Spirit's Refuge used, but BrokenBlade just walks it out.
Inspired's behind him.
All right, okay, so we're just galloping forward towards this one. Is okay. I don't think BrokenBlade's going to survive this. Inspired, going to have to ult to get himself out just to make sure. So that is a pretty clean dive there for EG. And Kadril, I wasn't expecting EG to be on perfect game pace at 13 minutes into this game.
Flawless so far, and it all comes from Inspired getting that bot dive off initially that just snowballed the rest of the map, because in top in isolation and your bot lane's ahead and you have a Shen ult, you dictate the pace of the game, and EG are keeping their foot on the gas. Every neutral objective is full, and the spawn so far, 1 minute 40 seconds on this Herald will be able to crack open any tower they want to, because when plates fall, look at that mid and bot tower, 1 plate each, 1 wave and that tower is gone. So EG have so much standing gold on the map that they will pick up soon. Sunfire here complete for Impact, and G2 are now putting caps on this bot side to match Jojo. They put their bot lane mid, EG doing the same thing, and now it just comes down to who can get the mid push, who can get the mid waves in and move to these side lanes first. Shen ult yet to be used, because G2, every time you say in the communication, in the comms, let's look for a bot play, let's look for a mid play, you always say, well, Shen has ult, you know, I don't have TP, I can't match it. You need to be very careful, you need to pick your windows to either instantly one-shot the target or bait out the Shen ult and then get away.
Yeah, and there are some ultimates where you say, well, why haven't you used it? Such as a Shockwave. We've had a few of those issues in the LCK of not seeing them, and they do need to come out. But holding on to an ult from a Shen is actually almost more valuable than using it.
Yeah, the lingering threat. Really,
yeah, the threat is so powerful. It's suffocating, it's stifling G2 right now. And they also have teleport advantage at the same time. So it's the 1-2 punch. As here is the culling. Targamas going to try and soak this one up. It's not so good as Kaori picks it up with the piercing light. EG are just all over G2 in this game.
Kaori's having a fantastic game here. The substitute for EG coming in for Danny. Has had a couple months of scrims under his belt, but showing up straight to this World Championship in the LCS playoffs. Having one of his best games I've seen so far. Level 9 on this Lucian, building towards 2 items. Lots of confidence as well, just dashing forwards onto Targamas. Didn't even have the cleanse up if he got hit by a hook, but he has the Shen ult, so a lot of defensive tools ready in case G2 tried to turn. And G2 in that situation, we're looking for a cross-map bot. Jankos and Caps are hovering to try to take this bot tier 1 because Herald is up. That's the idea, play away from EG right now because they're too strong, but now your support's dead, so you can't look for any cross-map.
Yeah, and Impact is just... He's like he's lording over the map right now. He can keep all of his team safe at a moment's notice, so you can just play extraordinarily aggressively, and you always know that Impact's going to be there to pick you up.
He is. 2,000 gold lead for Kaori on this Lucian. 1,000 gold lead for Jojo now they've taken down that tower. Jankos now hovering on this top side. Targamas behind him. They're looking to contest his Herald, but I just don't think they can. Caps has no TP, Jojo does. It's the exact same situation as playing against the Shen on the bot side of the map. They can always get a numbers advantage. G2 are struggling to find a pick, but they're looking for Impact. Yeah,
collapsing on Impact, definitely a good move, especially considering the fact that he doesn't have Flash, but they can't go into the fog of war. And this Rift Herald is going to be taken. Jojo looking for a dive, lands the backflip. There's the ult from Caps. Perfect execution, this time's going to work out. And this is the problem. Impact can be there at a moment's notice, but BrokenBlade's going to show up as well. Caps on 200 health, but he doesn't seem to care. The range advantage going to help him out, and EG have to back away.
Oh, Caps just about escapes. I thought Jojo would flash forwards there and try to get the kill, but I guess he didn't have enough range, but he's just forced out BrokenBlade's TP. Got Caps' flash, and the Shen ult will be back up before BrokenBlade's TP, and Jojo can keep doing this when Impact has that ultimate. He can keep threatening these dives onto the Azir. This time G2 get away, but I fear next time they may not, but they're going to pick up a dragon here. EG still dominating this map, on pace for a perfect game against the LEC second seed.
It's absolutely phenomenal. This change for EG, especially considering the game against G2 last week. This is night and day, a fantastic look for EG in their first game of the day. G2 certainly not out of it just yet, but this lead is so hard to come back from with a draft like this from EG, because you just have access to more money on the map. You can be in 3 lanes, while G2, if they want to stand a chance, need to group up.
Ooh. Jojo.
Right. Yeah, 5-point strike going to connect here as Jankos staying in the brush. Jojo not going to be overly aggressive. Vulcan lying in wait.
It's globals really, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
BrokenBlade had the TP bot to cover out Impact's ult, but then Impact has TP now. So if you engage top there, Impact would TP to the wave, and Vulcan could show up. No Envision on Inspire. They can't really find that play or just execute a play onto Jojo because they're always scared of numbers disadvantage. NA week 2 showing up big here for EG. Jojo's gonna find Caps again. How aggressive does he want to be though? Doesn't know Jankos is right behind him.
Well, there's the Emperor's Divide. We'll see whether he can get out of this as the kick comes through. The Q not going to be followed. And Jojo wants more. Targamas is actually very squishy for this stage of the game. Another Q lands, and Jankos again not going to take it as EG. They just bear down on this top outer turret. Inspired's going to throw Shirley towards it, and she will help them knock down their 3rd turret of the game.
Oh, Inspired got the Grump as well. I wonder if EG can look for more than just a tier 1 here. They'll crash this top, this wave in. Will they look for a tier 2? Jojo has the TP, but no ultimate. Needs to be careful of Jankos in this bush. They don't know he's there, but no kick means he has no real threat. Kaori can just do this.
Yeah, the calling's gonna come through. Whirling Death not really going to threaten too much, and that is another charge for the Rift Herald. Meanwhile, there's a cross-map play towards the bottom side, the teleport to come forward as Impact just chasing BrokenBlade down. Jojo, can he actually close the distance is the question. I think that BrokenBlade will be able to get that. Caps maybe not so lucky, but does shift some sands to get himself out. But getting out is not what G2 need. They need to be able to find some money on this map. And EG are just destroying everything. They grab the inner turret now. That is 4-0.
It's a 7,000 gold lead. It's 7 kills, 2-0. There's really nothing that can be done. G2 don't have options. They even tried to all-in bot there. BrokenBlade tried to fight Impact. Jojo TP's in. If they tried to fight top, Impact would ult in. How do you ever get a numbers match here?
Well, there's just fights all over the place. Jankos in trouble, does take the lantern. And now Jojo looking for his opportunity. Perfect execution is going to fly forward, and Inspired's there to protect the Akali. And of course, he also has the ult from the Shen as well to keep him safe. Flashes over the wall. Now BrokenBlade in trouble. Good double knockup, but there's just no damage from G2, and EG will just back away. They'll steal themselves this bramble back, and they'll go about their business.
Oh my god, EG are playing with so much confidence. Jojo is playing on the edge. That top play where he got shuffled, I thought he would die when he went in here deep. I thought he would die as well, but Impact bails him out this time around. Just keeping G2 in their base, keeping them on a leash, and EG not letting them have anything whatsoever. And EG's easy win condition this game is dragon stacking. 1 minute 40 until their soul point. Their Baron turn is extremely strong with Nami and Hecarim. It's just a case of when they want to start it up. It will be spawning in 10 seconds. Doesn't die very quickly, but if G2 overstep even an inch, there'll be an Akali behind them, there'll be a Shen ult coming in, the Lucian culling, the Nami tidal wave. It's so hard for G2 to do absolutely anything. EG playing flawless.
Yeah. The turn is extraordinarily scary, but not only that, but they can also have Impact in a side lane the entire time. He's got teleport right now, stands united, halfway through the cooldown, and you can see EG able to just get rid of all the vision. This is an aggressive move, as Caps and Jankos were already there to try and grab Jojo, but who is flanking who? As Impact's going to turn up. Yeah, he's very, very tanky. I don't think that's a cue you want to take. And G2 will make it out, but they have to again invest a teleport. And so that tempo advantage we were talking about, well and truly in EG's hand.
That's one way to bait out a TP. Normally start Nash and then stop, but you just TP behind them. BrokenBlade has to match, and now Impact can go back bot, and he has the Shen ult, but they're still hovering around this top side. Looking for a pick, Flakked.
Yeah, seen this one before. Thankfully, there's a minion wave for Flakked. And Kaori is just so extraordinarily strong. This is a Draven that hasn't picked up a kill. He does not have the items that Dravens are used to having at this stage of the game.
I never thought I'd say this, but I think this is going to be a perfect game here from EG. Unless
you
Jojo...
can't jinx it. You can't jinx it,
Unless Jojo gets caught out here. It's going to go on to Caps. He has to Shen ult in around 5 to 10 seconds. Needs to be careful.
Yep, the ult has been used. He can use that defensively, but goes into his Shroud. More than happy to just wait for that one. Get out with the perfect execution. There's a turret. Q not going to land. Oh, and okay, lands the backflip. Yep, there we go. There's the Shen delivery system. And yeah, the taunt's great onto Jankos. He has nowhere to go. All 5 members turn up. And EG get their 8th kill of the game.
It's going to be Baron as well. They're just going to push Caps away. He's on the wrong side of the map. Inspired will chase him down. There's no real point in flashing, but he's going to try his best. Inspired will get the kill. Oh, will he get saved? Yes! The Lantern saves Caps, and G2 will get a Dragon, but EG are going to get a Baron.
Yeah, you'll take that trade any day of the week if you're a fan of the North American representative. This Baron is going to be taken down. That is some bounty gold as this Ocean goes over the way of G2, and that does stop the perfect game, Kadril. So we don't have that anymore. Still, EG could go unkilled.
Unkilled. That's also
quite. Definitely do
that's
that.
also quite a good achievement, isn't it? Unkilled. EG.
I mean, honestly, I think you take a win.
A win as well. That always helps. Jojo thought he had the all-in. Jankos is constantly covering Caps. Shen ult's on cooldown here still, but if it wasn't, Jojo would have dived in. Impact has the Shen ult. I think BrokenBlade might have tried to stop him, but he blast cones over into the Dragon Pit and then Shen ults from there, avoiding BrokenBlade as much as possible. Actually, the ult invested to try to stop it, but wasn't in time. Manages to land on top of Jojo, and then they get the kill on the Jankos.
Yep, the ninja delivery system. I remember when having 2 ninjas on your team actually made you lose 1 HP point.
It did.
For everyone. And so every time I see Shen and Akali, I'm like, oh, anti-synergy. But it actually works out very, very well having an assassin that can bring a tank in.
Didn't there have something if you had Sunglasses against Leona? She did 1 less base damage. Vayne did, I think.
Yep.
Small one. So
I was always wondering whether you had to actually put your sunglasses on, though. You know how Vi has the toggle where you can wear them or not wear them, and whether that actually eliminates the sunlight damage. But yeah, let's get back to the game.
Always keep it on. May as well. Nothing to lose. So G2 have a tower and G2 have a dragon under their belt. Not sure if it was an objective mounting the tower, but it certainly was on the dragon. But EG, 1 minute 40 seconds on this Baron buff. Looking for the bot tier 2. Again, they have Shen ult up in 5 seconds. Jojo has TP. So no matter what kicks off in bot lane, both the solo lanes will arrive at a moment's notice. And all the meanwhile, they'll be pushing in lanes, which G2 have to respond to, so that EG can finally get this bot tower. Flakked will have to catch mid wave, Caps will have to catch top wave, or vice versa, and then the bot tier 2 will die. So good setup here by EG, going for a 1-1-3 with double global.
Yep, the onus entirely on G2 to make something happen, otherwise they will just lose things. As you can see, Kaori very comfortably will take down this inner turret. That is going to be tower number 6 for EG. They are cresting that 10,000 gold mark, and the Red Bull Baron power play sitting on 2K of that margin as well. And sad bees coming out from Flakked. This game is looking extraordinarily doomed for G2 right now.
24 minutes in, 11,000 gold lead. EG are just playing so good. G2 just holding on. Azir, Ornn, Draven, LeeSin, good in team fights, but EG aren't giving them a single fight. They're just choking them out of the map, constantly getting picks, and now the waves are slowly crashing in. BrokenBlade's matching top, he has the TP, but Kaori's looking for...
Yeah, the culling. Oh, Jankos almost just dies to that back massage from the Lucian. This inhibitor turret taken down to about 50%, but EG, they don't have to use everything in order to just siege this turret, right? None of the onus is on them. They can continue just stretching G2 around their base, and they will eventually crack it open.
They will, but only 10 seconds left on this Baron means that this wave is the last one they can really play on before the Azir can start to clear out of these waves. So Kaori wants to get a bit aggressive, but he knows if he dashes forwards, Caps can shuffle him. Has to be very careful. Top and mid pushing in. G2 will respond, so Baron buff is off. EG best call now is just to back away, reset, spend gold, set up for the next dragon. It looks like that's what they will do, and take away a couple of jungle camps all the meanwhile. Sieging without Baron just becomes really complicated. Overstaying, waves dying too quickly, wasting time on the map. But you can see at the bottom of your screen, the gold lead between Flakked and Kaori was around 5,000 in just one roll.
It's insane. And it's about a 70 CS gap as well. Kaori's just been able to pick up more farm around this map. Of course, if you're Caps, it's much safer to farm. Targamas wants to be trying to protect when G2 are making these plays, and so therefore it's just so dangerous for Flakked to be farming on this map.
Really is. Can't overstep, no tier 2s anywhere. Wards littered in your jungle, TP's ready. You can be flanked at a moment's notice, so has to catch waves very safely. Look at that gold difference.
That is not beautifully linear, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Not too many dents really, is there? Can't fault EG for this game. Almost perfect, and Dragon spawning in 40 seconds. That'll be an easy pickup for them. They'll have about 2 minutes before they start sieging onto the base again, unless they can find a pick. It becomes really hard to crack open base towers at 26 minutes of the game against Azir and Ornn. You don't really want to overstep. There's no point in giving them a window for you to make a mistake. So I think EG will set up with the Dragon, look for picks, and then they will set up the Baron in 1 minute 30 seconds.
Jankos thinking about trying to make a play here onto Jojo, but he's not going to give him too much of an opportunity. 19 seconds on this Ocean Drake, get themselves to Soul Point. EG can then utilize that power to try and close out this game. Of course, Baron going to be up in 1 minute and 20 as well as the knock-up. Not going to connect there onto Jojo. And he hasn't even gone into his Shroud just yet. Does eventually get in there as there is the Ornn blown. They get the knock-up. In comes Impact. Doesn't find the taunt, but Inspired's here as well. There's the shutdown onto Jojo, but can they win the fight is the question. Impact flashing to get himself out of there, and Inspired, he's very fast, thinking about whether he wants to protect the Shen, but he does make it out.
Off screen there, Vulcan just used both summoners. I think Targamas must have hit a hook and ulted him there with the Flay, so Vulcan had to flash away. That's a shutdown onto the Ornn. What can G2 get done with it? 30 seconds on the Akali respawn timer, 40 seconds on the Baron. Dragon's up, but they want this top tower by the looks of it.
Yep, there is the taunt onto BrokenBlade. He's pretty tanky, but that's a great knock-up onto Impact. Gets into the Spirit's Refuge, and he just takes 0 damage. Inspired's going to turn up Kaori. The culling does so much damage. Caps now limping out of this one. BrokenBlade leading them as well, as now G2 trying to get out the flash forward. And Kaori is indeed dominating. Impact looks for another taunt, doesn't get it.
TP. TP coming in from Jojo.
This was all part of the plan, Cadril. Jojo looking for the backside of this team fight now, and G2 have been routed. EG have found found their team fight opportunity. It's a double kill for Impact, and now Jojo is looking to get his revenge. 1 kill for G2 so far this game, and G2 may have their base broken open.
TP from bot there, from Impact there into bot. He's getting the waves in. Inspired's proxying waves. Top waves coming in too. 15 seconds onto caps. I'm not sure if EG can end, but they will crack the base open and they have a Baron up if they want to move towards it. G2 trying to fight back here against Inspired. I don't think they can get the kill. They don't really have the damage. They're just trying to slow EG down as much as possible, but EG are steamrolling G2 right now.
So good. The answering play there from EG. Now they can move back towards the Drake if they want to take that, but also there is a Baron available. Here's the call of the Forge Guard as Vulcan is going to avoid the ram. That was expertly sidestepped. The listing lazily to the left tactic. You never expect it to work, but it absolutely did.
Easy clap there from Vulcan. Didn't have the flash, so maybe BrokenBlade thought they could get a pick. But Vulcan doesn't get hit by the knockup. EG now going to look for this dragon. Kaori is doing so much damage in these fights when he arrives, and G2 realize that they need to try to win the game here by just going for a Hail Mary Baron. There's nothing left to do on the map because EG dominate the top side, but they're too scared to do it. EG pushed back against G2. Not too much topside vision here for EG, but the fact that Kaori is running through mid means that G2 are scared of getting flanked by the Lucian. A lot of creeps to catch in the base as well. Kaori actually didn't start up that dragon, he just moved towards mid to cover off the Baron and has a Guardian Angel now, so this Lucian is practically unkillable. This all comes off the back of G2 getting a pick onto Jojo. They realize that the longer they hold on in their base, the more they're just going to lose the game because EG control the map, so they get the pick. Looks good initially, they get the shutdown to BB, but then they look for a tier 1 top, and Kaori, with this flash forward, see how much damage he does here onto caps, just instantly kills him with the E and the passive, and then Jojo comes back for revenge. TP's behind G2, and they have nowhere to go.
Yeah, the answering play, absolutely fantastic. First kill for G2 in this game. I was expecting it to be a lot sooner than this, but this EG has performed extraordinarily well. Second week, North America looking fantastic. Of course, for EG, it is their third. Picking up that play-ins buff, and finally, we are seeing the rewards.
And this will help EG a lot in terms of momentum. They're playing up against JDG next game, and they need to 3-0 to start contesting their way out of this group. This is a fantastic start, and they'll be in very, very high spirits going up against the LPL first seed. Just need to close this one out very cleanly. They have all the tools to do it. They can push in waves, turn towards the Baron, secure that in case G2 try to step up, and then start sieging onto this base that's already cracked open. Here comes the Baron start. G2 have a couple TPs to work with, but they have absolutely no vision. A little bit of vision on the entrance red, but it won't really spot anything around this Baron. One ward above EG here, but they don't feel threatened. Draven will come in to spot them out. G2 looking for a pick onto Impact here. They realize maybe we can look for a kill onto the Shen, but Impact smartly backing away.
Yep, there could have theoretically been some sort of double teleport play or something like that, but G2 not going to go for it. And EG will take their second Baron of the game already, up to 1,600 on that Red Bull Baron power play. And this should be the final one. Kadril, yeah, this gold lead, this is starting to look like EG playing with their food. But
yep,
you can imagine it feels pretty good to be in a winning position after what happened last week. And there is another culling, going to be cancelled a little bit early there as Targamas. They're going to have Mercy on the Thresh.
And this is Kaori carrying the game, right? This is Kaori stepping up for EG. Jojo, as much as he's been fighting caps and trying to push him back, he hasn't had that much impact in terms of looking for these picks, snowballing the lead. He's been around for the fights, he's been at the right place at the right time. This is all Kaori and Vulcan showing up, diving bot, inspired, finding BrokenBlade.
My goodness, the W just healed him for 1 billion health there, from the looks of it. Emperor's Divide gonna go straight into the stopwatch as Jankos gets a kickback, but there's the ult, and Jojo's just gonna pick up the kill under caps. This is looking just too good for EG. The final team fight is gonna be a double for Kaori. Can we get him more? There's the triple! EG will take their first Nexus here at the group stage, and they do it against G2, and they do it after losing only 1 kill and 1 dragon and 1 turret the entire time. Just dominance from start to finish from the evil geniuses, and this is what we wanted to see.
The crowd in New York erupts for the hometown heroes. The LCS managed to take down the LEC. NA getting the better hand of Europe here in the second week of the World's group stage. Nobody beats Inspired 18 times in a row. Finally gets his best of 1 revenge. EG finally get their best of 1 revenge against G2, and it's about damn time they finally pull it off. Now it's just 2 games ahead of them, level-headed, keep calm. C9 were in a very similar situation yesterday, but they fell flat in that second game that they played up against. Now it's just JDG ahead of EG. Yep, 10-15 minutes to prepare, back on the stage, and run back what I think a similar composition. This Shen pick was just so phenomenal in threatening G2 in any play they wanted to look for. You want to dive bot, you want to try to counter gank bot or anything towards mid,